Hi guys, my name's Amy and I'll be talking to you briefly today on ethics. What is ethics and why is it so important? Okay, so ethics simply is what's right and what's wrong in the defending and the recommendation of the concept. Okay, so it's pretty much different in different fields. There's medical ethics such as euthanasia, that debate, and there's journalistic ethics, how much of the person can you give away, what information can you use about the person or the event, things like that. I'll be talking to you mainly about media research ethics, which can sort of come under the form of journalistic ethics, but slightly different, okay? Now, media research ethics, why is it so important? A lot of today's technology, we get a lot of our information off the internet. So why is it so important about ethics when, you can get on the internet and you can look up a topic, and I'm sure that Google will find copious amounts of sites where you can get this information, or so it says. So today, if you go onto a website and you're wanting to do a research paper, where do you get it from? Is it free? What type of consent do you need for it? Just because it's on a website or something like that doesn't make it free to use for you. Just because, you might go into a paid website, does that make it better because you've actually paid for the information? Don't know. It's a debate that everyone can go around. Again, if you want to go deeper into that one, what type of websites is it? Which one would be more important? Would it be better to use information from a social media website or just a normal website in general? The social media website, you've put that information out there, so why would somebody need consent to use it when you've already given consent and put it on there yourself? Someone else hasn't written it about you, you've written it about yourself. Or generally, that's the case. If so, this brings me to consent. Okay? Consent, how do we get around it? If you go onto a website and it's an anonymous website and you want to talk to the person, you want to get their consent, how do you do that? Do they have a contact number? Do they have an email? If they have none of these things, can you still use their information? This all boils down to ethics itself. Okay? The second part of it is exactly what I've been talking about before. If they were anonymous, do you keep them? Do you still use that information, or do you need to discard it? Because it's anonymous, you'd think they've already made themselves anonymous. I have no idea who they are, so how can my readers find out who they are, right? This is one of the things where you need to be really careful of, because a lot of the time if you don't have someone's consent and they find out, they can actually take you to court, or they can, give legal action towards you. And really, in a professional manner, that wouldn't be the greatest sense of accomplishment for you. Now, when it comes to this type of thing, okay, how often, do you need to see these people? How much do you need to try to get their consent before you just put it in your work? Do you try once a day? Do you keep on trying until, they give you the consent? Or do you try once and they didn't respond, so you go, you know what, at least I tried, I can put it in now? It's different for every single circumstance, it's different for the topic, for example. If you're talking about a sensitive topic, then you can't necessarily give information that is that sensitive about it. This also brings me to my next point of interviewees. If they want to stay anonymous, do you let them? Does it depend on your hypothesis, for example? A lot of the times the hypothesis is wanting to be kept secret from a lot of people. Now, this again straight flows on to my next point. How much of your hypothesis do you need to give away? If you want to keep your hypothesis anonymous, then do you do great lengths into keeping it anonymous, especially if someone asks you what it is? Do you bluntly tell them no, you're not allowed to know, or do you lie to them? or something like that, you know, especially if it can influence their opinion on something, then you could be in for a big issue. Another part of this is whether or not they will still do it if you don't tell them what your hypothesis is. You know, they may feel a little bit uncomfortable. A lot of the time people won't care to give their hypothesis away, and in simple ones such as, you know, for example, I believe that uni students go out too often. You know, I don't believe that would cause opinions for anybody. But at the same time, you know, if someone asks for it and you say no, eventually when you're asking questions such as, how often do you go out? You know, how often do you think is a lot for someone to go out? They will eventually get the idea, unless, of course, they're still getting over the hangover from last night's toga party. Yeah. This also comes down to the fact that, you know, if they want to stay anonymous in these types of things, how sensitive is the topic? You know, if it's not a very sensitive topic, if it's just about sport or something, generally people won't care what their opinion is out there. But if it's on a more sensitive topic, such as, you know, politics or terrorism or sex, people may not want their name to be out there like that. Okay. Lastly, you know, the one thing about ethics is you need to make sure that you are respectful, not only to yourself in your media research, but to the people who you're interviewing. You know, they have given up their time, and generally they do it for free. You know, sometimes you might give them some sort of payment, but a lot of the time they are taking up their time for you. And like I said earlier, it can actually become a lawful thing. You know, there are issues when you don't abide by means, and a lot of the time it can come back and be quite harsh compared to the little amount of time that it takes to get either consent or to keep someone anonymous by not mentioning their name or any personal information that can identify them. Then, you know, if you keep all that stuff free, then you should be right, and keep yourself respectful, keep respect for them, and ethics shouldn't be an issue. Thanks for listening, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.